Welcome to the Stew and the Crew. We back at it, week 6. Got a special guest for you guys. The one and only Fozzy Whittaker. Ladies and gentlemen, he's not just only a 7-year vet. He is now an analyst for the SEC Network. But more importantly, he's one of my good friends, one of my best favorite teammates. He was a guy that kept the energy light, kept things interesting, but he brought the positivity, but he always kept it real somehow. But Fozzy Whittaker, man, I'm so glad that you're here. It's been since 2019. We were talking downstairs in the lobby as we were coming up, and it's been 2019. So that's been 6 years.
Yeah, too long.
Too long. But you want to know something? We ain't missed a beat. We ain't missed a beat. We was down there completing sentences. Like, it was crazy. But that's how you know you got special relationships and bonds with people, man. But glad to have you here, dude.
Absolutely, man. It's a pleasure. Always great being back in the Queen City. Obviously, catching up with you and some of the guys that we play with together. And like you mentioned, that bond and the special type of relationship that we created during my time here, it's truly one of a kind and something that I cherish even to this day. Man, the kiddos wanted to come to Charlotte with me. They was like, hey, we got to go too. I was like, no, y'all got school. So y'all stay y'all little tails at home. But it's always good to catch up with you, my brother, and see the facility, all the changes that have been made, and obviously seeing where this team continues to go this season.
Yeah, man, I always reminisce when I see stuff on Instagram or memes, whatever it be. We be sending stuff to each other that be hitting home.
I gotta say one thing, and probably at least once a month, there's a conversation in my household about when we went to Krispy Kreme. There's several times we went to Krispy Kreme, but obviously the one famous moment, the hot and ready was pretty famous. That went viral before viral was even a thing, to be honest. Yeah. We might have kicked off the viral saga.
We might have, especially
the
for
dab
NFL
train
players.
and dabs, like that turned
pictures on the sideline.
So, yeah, we did all that. We started a lot. But the story that always comes up is this spider that Kenyon done brought into your car.
Listen.
And
you was listen. Give me your version of that story.
Okay.
Because I be arguing with Kenyon all the time. So Kenyon, if you are listening, this is how it went down.
All right. So we went to go eat after practice out in and I forgot where we went to eat. We got wings.
We went to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yep, Buffalo Wild Wings. That's what it was. So we got Buffalo Wild Wings. We walking back to your car. D-Lo and Toll drove together in D-Lo's truck. Yep. And then me and Kenyon.
The Harley Davidson,
the
F-150.
Premium, custom, super customized, very, very beautiful truck. Very nice. And then we rode in your car. You had your Audi. Me and Kenyon. Kenyon was sitting in the front seat. I was sitting in the back seat. But on the way to both of our vehicles, Kenyon was walking underneath trees and walking in between trees. He was swerving in and out.
Yeah, and it was during the summertime, right?
It was during summertime because it was training camp. We were out in Spartanburg, and you said, hey, you walking under those trees, don't you bring no bug into my car.
Yes.
And Kenyon said, man, I ain't finna bring no bug in your car.
Right.
And we get in the car. Getting ready to go get our dessert, which was Krispy Kreme. That was a custom that the running backs always had to do because that hot and ready sign was on.
Ready was on.
And we got it. We should have gotten a sponsorship, a much greater sponsorship. now that we're here,
there,
right? We still got a chance. NIL, baby, come holler at us. Krispy Kreme, come on, baby. But we go. D-Lo and Tolbert, they in the very customized car in front of us. They're ordering for however many Tolbert hot and ready boxes he got. We're waiting.
About 2
He got at least 2 boxes, yeah.
2 dozen.
Yeah, at least. And that's just for him. But we're waiting and behind them, I'm in the back seat, in the middle seat. So I can see everything in front of me, Stu driving. and then Kenyon in the passenger. While D'Lo and Tolbert are ordering at the box, Kenyon looks down and said, "Oh." Stu said, "Oh, what?" Kenyon felt something crawl on his neck, said, "Oh." He jumps out of the car.
Yeah.
Like, no hesitation.
No hesitation.
There's nobody that I've seen move faster, getting out of a seatbelt, opening the door, and 5 yards away than I seen Kenyon move until I saw the way Kenyon sprinted out, and you sprinted out with the same exact speed. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We were in the lane to order. The car was not put into park. And
lo and behold, I jump out the driver's seat, ladies and gentlemen. I was driving the Audi, and we was going in a drive-through lane in Krispy Kremes, and D'Angelo Williams and Mike Tolbert were parked right in front of us. And as I see the young man, Kenyon Barner, jump out of his seat, I knew what time it was. He didn't need to say anything because I said, do not get your butt in this car with that spider on you because I know there's a spider on you. I mean, you said there ain't no spider on me, so I gave you the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
And lo and behold, he jumped out, and guess what I did? I jumped out too. I jumped out the car. Okay, because I ain't trying to be around no spiders. Okay, now this is pre-married Stu, pre-father Stu. So my instincts as far as protection and protecting the people that are around me, that was not a thought.
It went out the door in the same way you went out.
I went out the door, boy. So
I'm in the back seat.
He in the back seat,
yelling.
Fozzy yelling, "Hey,
the car's
dry." We are rolling. And so immediately I realized the car was in drive, and I hear a boom. And luckily we wasn't like in drive, like we wasn't going at certain miles per hour or anything, but we hit the back of D'Angelo's car. He was nice enough to not really give me any
he wasn't upset.
He wasn't mad.
He wasn't upset.
But we all was dying laughing in the drive-through of Krispy Kremes in Spartanburg. Sparkle City is what they call it.
Don't forget about Toll having the window down. He heard the car hit D'Angelo's truck. Tolbert rolled the window up. Like somebody was mugging him or something.
Like, oh shoot! What's going on here?
Got to roll the window up.
Nah, man. But I got back in the car and I put the brake on it. And so sometimes that happens. Sometimes it bees like that. You know, you have your fears. But I want to let you know I did overcome my fear of spiders.
Yeah.
So when I see a spider, I kill it.
I
kill it with my hand.
No, with
Bow.
Your hand.
Yeah.
You've come a long way.
It's because of fatherhood, man.
You've come a long way.
You know, when you become
diapers.
Yeah, when you become a father, it just changed your whole mindset. Like,
like it's either my kids or you
or the spider.
Yeah, spider gotta go.
Spider gotta go.
Spider gotta go.
Oh man, that was a good story. Dog, you were undrafted.
Mm-hmm.
And I love your story because there's a lot to unpack there in my eyes. You know, you were an undrafted rookie to the Cardinals practice squad.
Mm-hmm.
You've gone through so much adversity, right? You know, going back to college, you had the knee injury in 2011, and the expectations going into that season for you, they were high.
Right.
But I really want to tap into something a little deeper. Your positivity, your energy, your outlook. Where does that come from? Is that just the Whittaker way? Like, let's talk about that.
Yeah. I think you know me just about as well as anybody else would, and you know how spiritually based I am. Mm-hmm. And the way my mom brought up myself and my two older brothers was God has a plan. And that plan is for all of us to prosper, whether we go through adversity or whether we go through the fun and the good times. It's all still a part of the main goal of what God wants us to experience and eventually what those experiences in turn us to become and be more human, but also living Christ-like in the image of his son. And I truly took the moment of my knee injury in college, I took that as a sign of I hadn't grown enough. And it took me time to get through that, right? In the middle of my injury, that was not what I was thinking.
Hindsight, though.
Hindsight's 2020 now, but the first thing I thought, and I'm sure a lot of people also think, was like, why me? I felt like I've been doing the things that I needed to do. I felt like I was headed down the right track. I'm one of the hardest working individuals on the football team. I was selected as a captain of the football team my senior year at Texas. Like, why did it have to be? I was having my best season in college as well. And it was like, why did I have to go through this at that time? And my mom used to always remind me that God gives some of the worst or strongest trials and tribulations to his strongest soldiers. And for me, I kind of took that personally of a thought process of like, okay, if other people went through this, how would they respond and react? And if I was fortunate enough to play college football, what would my next steps be, and who or what type of person would I look back and say I was proud of becoming after my injury?
Yeah.
And I think that put things into perspective. And after a day of kind of wallowing and trying to figure out what my next plan and path was going to be, I don't get drafted, and I have another moment of where I'm like, man, I don't know what my future's going to be. I've been working hard. I have to figure out how to tap back into what got me there to begin with, and the opportunity to even be present at college football, right? That's significant in and of itself, to be able to play at a university like the University of Texas, let alone for 4 years and starting my senior year and having some big-time plays. And so I got back to the humility of it all, thanks to my wife now, who was my girlfriend at the time, Jasmine, my mom, my two brothers. They always kept telling me, put your head down, put faith in God, but continue to go to work. Yeah. And that's exactly what I did. And I think that has transpired into the type of person that I am today. And I've learned from it. And that has allowed me to say, hey, my path is going to be what it is. God already has set my path. But at the end of the day, how I look at it, I can look at it from a negative perspective, or I can look at it from the positive perspective. And I typically would choose the positive perspective, because why be negative?
Yeah.
I always think, like, what do you get out of being negative? Yeah, I understand complaints. I understand bad things happen, but why stay in that? You got a choice. And it's the same way, right? If we running gassers, you got a choice. Do I want to sprint full speed each gasser and try to get better? Or do I want to just, go out and half run the gassers and just say it's done? Right. And I think that choice was something that I had continuously made from the decisions that my mom had raised in us. If you do something, you're going to do it 100%, right? Whether that's cleaning the bedroom whenever I was a little kid before I had to go out and play. So, like, if I didn't clean my room and it wasn't done to the liking of my mother's approval, then I had to come back inside and I had to go clean it, and I lost privileges for the rest of the day. If I didn't clean the dishes, if I didn't wash clothes, if I didn't run with great effort on the track, if I didn't run with great effort on the football field, right? My mom would tell me that, and she'd be like, whatever you do, you got to give it 100%. And I've taken that to heart of like, hey, I'm going to stay positive, and I'm going to give my positivity 100%. And even whenever there are times where I falter, I got to lean back on something, and that's the plan that God has for me. And then it kind of resets me, and then I'm ready to rock and roll. So I think that's the premise of how I was able to overcome my injury, stay positive, but then at the same time, like, have motivation in my mind and in my mindset of who I want to be and where I'm trying to go and who I want to become.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man, because, for those that are listening, Fozzy goes undrafted, and that positive mindset and the things that he was brought up with, such as going 100% and everything that he does, got him, on some teams. Mm-hmm. So the Chargers, right, the Browns, and then finally you land where you were supposed to be all along.
Right.
2014, my boy is a Carolina Panther. Take us back to that time when you became when you were sought after. To be a Carolina Panther. What did you know about the Panthers then? What was exciting? What was the DNA like? What was the differences between that Panther team and the teams that you've experienced before?
Yeah, so the first thing that stood out to me and how my journey even happened there, right? Another trial that I had to go through, right? I was released from Arizona after, the season ended, and I'm thinking, it's my first NFL stop. I'm practice squad. Okay, next year I'll get a chance to go, be on the squad and make the 53-man roster and go kind of make some hay. Well, the Arizona Cardinals were not great that year, so they fired the entire staff, brought in a new staff. Typically, whenever that happens, holdovers, whether it's personnel, whether it's players, whether it's whatever, they end up getting let go. So I got let go, and lo and behold, the relationship that I created with Ken Wisenhunt, who was the head coach at the time, he becomes the offensive coordinator at the San Diego Chargers. He picked me up and said, hey, I want you to come with me to San Diego. I want you to be a part of that vision.
So let's weigh in on that.
Yeah.
Your relationship with a coach.
Yep.
Explain how that came to be. Was there intentionality behind that? Or is that just you being who you are 100%? Every time you show up to the facility, people can depend on that.
I had no idea what was going on. And the crazy part about it was literally I still had to recover throughout the course of the beginning of that football season in 2013 or 2012, I'm sorry, where I wasn't able to get picked up on a team. So, I talked about draft day pass. I didn't get selected. Obviously, I was still too injured. No team was like, hey, we not going to take on dead weight for a guy that's not going to have a chance to play this season. So draft day comes and goes. Training camp comes and goes. Preseason comes and goes. All throughout the season comes and goes. The third to last week of the season. So what is that? You get a bye week. So there were 17 weeks. So that would have been week 14. Week 14, they contact my agent. This is December. They contact my agent and say, hey, we want to bring Fozzy in for a workout to see how his knee's healing up and to see where his conditioning level is. My agent calls me. I'm like, let's go. What flight we on? I don't even need to pack too much stuff, blah, blah, blah. My agent says if they like you, they'll sign you, so make sure you pack a couple of clothes so that you can make it through
the week or
the next two weeks, to be honest. So I work out with the running back coach and the offense coordinator at the time. And, I felt like I did good, but I had no clue. They gave me no feedback. They said, all right, we'll see you later. Sent me back home. I had no idea
How did that feel?
what to expect. Yeah, I was just like, well, at least I got a chance to
antsy, though?
see somebody. I was.
Yeah.
I was anxious. I just was like, well, I did what I could, though. There was nothing more that I could do. I showed them everything that I was. I gave them 100% of me. If they wanted me, that's all I could do. And so I was happy I got the opportunity, and it made my dream and realization of, okay, maybe I can make it to the NFL. That's what I've been pursuing, and I finally first got an opportunity. And whether anybody else called me back and I never played it down in the NFL, that was enough to validate all the hard work that I put in rehabbing and then getting my mind right and my body right and kind of going through finding a job, trying to make ends meet all throughout that season, just to secure myself an opportunity for that moment. And once that moment came, I just had to do what I could. So I don't hear nothing, and then literally a week later, my agent calls me and say, hey, they want to sign you to the practice squad. They released a different individual. You're going to fly out there, and you're going to be there for the last 2 weeks, and then we hope to sign a futures contract. So fly out, do what I need to do for practice. And those 2 weeks, like I said, it's literally the last 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
I want to say the Cardinals, as that team that year, we may have won 3 games.
Yeah.
So there was no hope of anything. There were no playoff implications. There were no division-winning championship implications. Everybody knew it's the season's done.
You was going to a black hole.
And I was going hard in practice.
Out there mixing them up.
Bro,
you probably got some people fired.
The best scout team running back I could be.
You probably got some folks fired because it's late in the season. Ain't nobody trying to
nobody trying to go. Now I know that, right? Once I was a vet in the NFL, I knew what time it was. People were shut down.
He's a nice guy, but God, I ain't trying to chase him.
Hard. I remember Dan Williams, defensive tackle. I was going too hard for his liking in scout team one day, boy. He put me on my butt. Like, I'm trying to run through the middle. We was playing, I want to say we were playing the Raiders, so we were preparing for it. I think it was like Darren McFadden was playing as the running back. So I was like, I got to run like Darren McFadden. Like, I'm going to get my squad right. Man, he put me on my butt so hard. That was the hardest I've ever been hit in the NFL. And it was in practice because I was trying to give the best look I could. I was going to go 100%. Yeah. It's my first time really being in football action in over a year. I tore my knee up November of 2011. So it's like I've gone literally 13 months without playing real football, and that was the first time I got to go out there and play with a group of individuals and compete in organized football. So I was acting like it was my game day.
Yeah, it was game day.
It was my game day reps. And, man, it was awesome. I'm trying to outrun Pat P. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to run routes on Adrian Wilson. Like, these are all phenomenal individuals. Right. They're playmakers, dudes.
Yeah.
And that's whenever I was just like, okay, cool. This is what it's supposed to feel like. It was my first kind of introduction. I think that's what set me apart in Ken Wisenhunt's mind of like, hey, this is a guy that I can work with. Yeah. Right. I don't know what he's going to become. I still had a knee brace on, so I wasn't
out here maximum effort.
But I'm out there giving it all I could.
Yeah.
And I think that's what stood out. And I hadn't talked to Coach Wisenhunt like ever. I was a practice squad guy in week 14. So it's like, what does he really have to say to me other than like, hey, get the look right? Yeah. And so it also went to show people are watching my actions more than I even realized my actions are conveying to everybody around me.
Yeah. Just doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And you're doing the right thing for yourself.
Right.
And eventually you realize you do the right thing for yourself. It helps the broader picture.
Absolutely.
Right. And that broader picture got you to Carolina.
Yep.
So going back, what was your first take? Like, what was your expectations of the Carolina Panthers back then?
So going there again. So released by Arizona. Almost same thing happened in Cleveland, where whole new regime. They drafted 2 running backs in the NFL draft, and then the following day I get the boot. So draft is in April.
Yeah.
And
who are the running backs?
Terrence West was one of them, and I cannot remember who the other one was. But they drafted 2 of them. One in the 5th round, I think. One in the 4th round. Maybe it was 4th and 5th round or 5th and 6th round. But they had a plan of the type of body type that they wanted to utilize. And, hey, do what you got to do. Mm-hmm. So I'm released after the draft in April. And then May goes by, I don't hear nothing. And then June goes by, I don't hear nothing. July comes around, and my agent says, hey, training camp is about the time that you may hear calls because injuries happen. You never want to be in a situation like this. But the Panthers had drafted Tyler Gaffney from Stanford, phenomenal player. He tore his ACL on the 3rd day of camp. As you know, you were there. You saw it. After the 3rd day of training camp, my agent calls me and says, hey, Panthers want to bring you and another guy in. Ironically, the other guy, his name's Glasgow Martin. He played running back at Baylor, who I played against at Texas. We both were training together during the summertime in preparation for each of us seeking an opportunity to go play in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And I get the call from my agent.
And you must have was running your sprints harder than him.
Had to. It's funny. He wrote a kind of memoir about that, and he had a podcast video. But ironically, we both was training. I'll get to it, but we come out. Skip is our freaking guy that's running us. He's obviously the running back coach. He calls us out and said, hey, I want y'all to go through drills, blah, 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 blah. And me and Glasgow been running these drills and workout, and we've been doing well. And we probably neck and neck. Glasgow a little bit bigger than me, too. So from a physical size, he probably looked like the better option to be able to handle banging of being an NFL running back. But what Coach Skip did at the end was had us run routes and he threw the ball and we had to go catch, or he brought a quarterback to throw the ball. I had to go catch.
Right, Skip wasn't throwing no ball.
Hey, baby. Hey. So he had a quarterback come over and throw some routes to us. And I was able to catch the ball, possess it, run my routes better than what Glasgow was used to doing. And we go back. Glasgow used to ask me, why do I catch routes after we do our workouts in the summertime every time? He's like, why do you always work on your routes in your hands? And I just told him, bro, that's the type of back I want to be. I want to be multiple, and I want to be utilized in any way possible. And he had actually dropped a couple of the passes whenever we were with Coach Skip doing that workout. Yeah. And I think that was probably the separating factor. Was the separation. And I talked to Skip later down the line, and Skip, you know how Skip is. He's straight to the point. He told me, he said, whenever they asked, okay, which back do you own? Skip said, I want the little fast one.
I want the little fast guy.
I want the little fast one. And so that ended up being how I got on the roster. And my first mindset was like, bro, Carolina is like one of the ideal places I wanted to be. I knew you and D-Lo was already here. I knew Tolbert was coming off of a Pro Bowl appearance. Cam was obviously here. The mindset for this team revolved around the identity of the running back. It's like, I know Smitty was also that dude, but in order to be one of the physical teams and one of the teams that control the line of scrimmage, you got to have some dogs at running back. And that's what you all were. But in order to be a championship team with that mentality, you got to have a defense.
Yeah.
And I go back, and obviously the 49ers game in the playoffs in 2013, that's something that sticks out to me. But I saw the type of team chemistry that you all had. And it didn't obviously work out in the favor of the Panthers in that moment, but I could feel just from watching, like there was something there, something special. And getting that opportunity, whenever my agent called me, I was like, bro, this is the spot I'm supposed to be at. And I get here, first day I see Cam in the cafeteria. And he said, hey, what's your name? I said, Fozzy. He said, Bobby, like Boucher? Like Boucher. And literally my name from Cam Newton for the next 5 years was Boucher. Yeah. That's how he came up with Boucher.
I didn't know that's how it was.
That's how it was. First day in, like, literally finished the workout. Yes. Finished the workout. Coach said, hey, we going to sign you. I showered, like got dressed, went into the cafeteria for the first time. I ain't met nobody. And then introduced C-Cam. I get introduced to him, and boom, I say, my name Fozzy. He said, oh, Bobby, like Boucher. No, Fozzy. He's like, all right, I'm going to call you Boucher, like the water boy. And then obviously I was introduced to everybody, and I understood how strong of a bond that running back room is, and that kind of separated us from the other groups, and we stuck together, obviously, and I knew what it meant to be a part of something so special. Yeah. And that was kind of my first impression. It was like, Cam, he's bigger than I thought in person. I didn't know he was that big. He's also has a commanding presence about himself, but he's also very funny and relatable. Yeah. And then the running backs are a type of group that I envision myself being around, because you hear so many times it's a business in the NFL. Like, oh, is everybody worried about their family and they going about their business.
It's one thing to be able to break down a huddle and say family.
Yes.
But it's another thing to actually feel it
and embody it. And every day. And y'all accepted me open arms.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that same acceptance whenever I was in Arizona, and maybe because I was there in week 14 or whatever the case may be. In Cleveland, I knew one of the other players, Chris Obanaya.
Yeah.
And he and I played together at Texas, but it was not a close-knit group. It was close in San Diego. I had a good feeling, and the group was a strong group with Ronnie Brown and Ryan Matthews and Danny Woodhead.
Those are good dudes,
yeah,
too, though.
Really good dudes.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I got here that I realized it was something different about the culture, and I think that was a Ron Rivera thing. And I know the running backs, we all embodied that as well, but Coach Rivera had set a culture across the team that resonated with me, and it was the best experience out of all four organizations that I was a part of in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm glad you hit on that, because, part of the reason why it was such a good room, a good team, is because of guys like you.
Yeah.
Like,
I appreciate that.
I legit recall you can call, if there was a moment that I was injured, banged up, we losing, I'm going through problems outside of the facility, Fozzy, Tolbert, these was like my brothers.
Right.
Like I was able to lean on them, and they was there to be leaned on. but and vice versa.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Same way. We all been through it.
But ladies and gentlemen, envision this: you walk into work, whatever your day job is, and there's a cafeteria, and there's this gentleman that's just always consistent. You know, he's wearing his same workout outfit with the same socks pulled up, got his cut off, you know, and he's sitting down in the cafeteria at a table, and he's got a drink, and it looks like a cocktail, and it is a cocktail because it's pineapple, cranberry juice.
You still remember that?
And orange juice. Was it? That's it, right? Apple juice. And I do recall we had some umbrellas at one point, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
And and there's an umbrella laying in the drink, okay? And he's just sitting there watching ESPN, catching up on all the games. And you walk in, and he looks right at you. And he smiles. He says, "Hey, dog, gotta find that island, dog. Gotta find that island."
Find that island.
Hey, and then on good days, like, hey, that island feel good, right? Like, but it's just
right.
It's just the energy, man. Like, I thank you for being. I thank God for allowing your path to cross mine, because without that type of energy, who knows where we would be as an organization.
Right.
Right? Guys like you that show up, put in the work, don't complain, and encourage your teammates to keep pressing forward. Like, you don't have you could easily buy into the woe is me category.
Mm-hmm.
And hearing your story from all of this, it goes back to how you were brought up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So fast forward, now you got kids, you're a parent, you're married, you are an analyst. You know, there's so much more life after football.
Right.
But that mindset as a parent, what about your experiences as a football player? What about the experiences as a guy that's grown up in the Whittaker family has prepared you to take on the biggest challenge of your life?
Yeah, and raising these kids is an absolute biggest challenge that I've faced. My son, 11 years old now, he actually still remembers coming to the games and being in the locker room. His name is Frost. He is probably the biggest, student to the teachings that I'm trying to create. And what I try to create is literally emulate exactly what my mom did, right? If I'm going to do something, make sure I'm doing it 100% of the time. I also want him to see that in me. Yeah. I want him to know if I'm taking part of something, I'm not going to do it 50%, 70%, even 90%. Like, I'm going to give it the just due and the respect that it deserves, and I'm going to treat it as such to make sure that whenever he looks up and says, hey, my dad used to tell me do everything 100%, that's what my dad did. So I want to be somebody like that, or somebody that emulates the type of work ethic and the type of mindset that he has. It has not been all peaches.
Yeah.
Trying to incorporate that and trying to pull that out of my son without wanting it more than he does, right? And whether that's in sports, whether that's in school with his grades, and whether that's just being a good person, right?
We all treat people.
Yeah. All right. We all going to fall short in some area, and sometimes multiple areas at different parts of our lives. But if we go back to our base foundational teachings, I want it to be ingrained in his core that that's his reset.
Yeah. Not
the opposite being his base core and the reset of like just trying to get by. And so I see him continuously taking strides. And yesterday is a perfect example. I coach his tackle football team. He's in 6th grade. We're playing Pop Warner. We have wind sprints at the end of practice, right? We got to do conditioning just like every other team does. And my son has talked about not wanting to run and condition, just like any other kid was. That's an 11-year-old kid.
Yet.
Don't nobody want to do that. Don't nobody care for doing that, especially this is week 7 for us in the football season. So we're nearing the end. And his mindset yesterday was like, hey, I'm going to be the fastest version of myself. And he ran the fastest I've ever seen him run. And we had 8 like gassers, like just run down as fast as you can. Going to give you maximum recovery because we got a bye week this Saturday, so you don't have a game. And then you're going to run it right back, maximum recovery, and we're going to do that 8 times. And out of all 8, I saw him sprint every single one, like to the best of his ability. He had never done that before. He'd take a couple reps off. Maybe he gives you, if we did 8, maybe he gives you 4.
So what you're saying is he clicked.
It clicked. Or at least it's starting to right now.
Yeah.
It's starting to click. He's starting to be a better big brother to his little sister. Like, you can see how it all culminates together. And then the grades are also reflecting what we are teaching, my wife and I. And so I see it happening, and that gives me the validation that I got to double down in what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because it's starting to work. Well, let me keep doing that, and let me keep raising the bar so he sees what it's like to continue to strive for excellence or strive for greatness. And I think that's where I start, feeling like, okay, what I'm doing is not in vain. Yeah. Similar to my process to get into the Arizona Cardinals, right? What I'm doing is not going unnoticed. And same way with my daughter.
That's that. And the reason why I wanted to ask that question, because I feel like we have the blessing of experiencing, athletics from the form of football in such the most dramatic way. Mm-hmm. We practice way more than we play.
Right.
We develop way more than we play.
Yep.
And, as a parent, you start to see like the patience that's needed for true development.
100%.
You can't overnight it. You can't microwave it.
Right.
It has to be, it has to be intentional.
Yep.
And it has to be thought out, and it has to be whatever the kid is. If this kid, you have 2 kids.
Right.
They're both completely different people.
All the way.
Not just because they're boy and girl, because their personalities are different.
Absolutely.
And that's the way God made them. So going back to this Carolina Panther football team, Dave Canellis and company came in last year, first year. This is their second year now. And you have an organization that has been built, on the run game, on playing defense, but not just playing defense. Like, I'm talking bend, don't break.
Right.
I'm talking coming downhill. Linebackers. If this was a university, it'd be linebacker U.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then on the offensive side of the ball, it is the trenches. We move and create new line of scrimmages.
Yep.
So that way our running backs can get to the second level and do what they do. Dan and Dave, I feel like have the recipe. And as a guy that is living in Texas, watching these games on TV, and it has been keeping up with the Carolina Panthers, do you see things coming around for the organization, as far, especially coming off of this last game? You had the Miami Dolphins 1-3, giving up 600 plus rushing yards,
right?
And you're supposed to do what you're supposed to be doing, but it's easily to slip the crack.
Absolutely.
It's easy to out think yourself, right? Yep. It's easier to be the guru, like what Coach Skip used to be saying.
Right.
Gurus around here. And shoot yourself in the foot. But, give me your take on where the Carolina Panthers are right now and where they can go in the trajectory.
Yeah, and I think Coach Canales has done a great job. Obviously, the things that were going on prior to his time taking over, you kind of inherited some of those issues, and he's trying to correct with where he sees is the best opportunity for this team to continue to strive and, reach the excellence that we were able to experience and back in the early 2000s that those Panther teams were able to experience. And I think he has those foundational core guys. And he's doubled down on that, which I truly love. Year 2, these are the people I want in my locker room. These are the way that I see the success happening. And it happens by doing it and following the process. In the same way you mentioned, when you're rearing a child and you got to raise them up, or you're building a team and you're trying to find out what the culture is, it takes time in the process to be able to follow through on that. Whether you take some wins, whether you take some losses, it's all teachable moments. And I think that's where we are now. Year one was obviously a big teachable moment for all those involved in the locker room. Year two, early in the season, we got basically the first quarter done. We're like looking at, okay, we took some lumps, but we've also showcased who we can be whenever we fully buy into what this culture and what this organization is all about. And I think last week's win, or I guess a couple days ago, the win that they just had against Miami, that's indicative of those guys not laying in self-doubt, not laying in self-pity, right? After you lost to New England, everybody could have been like, oh, well, that's it. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's okay. Here we go again type of mindset, right? Yeah. But they doubled down on what their core foundational pieces, and whenever you get a guy like Rico Dowdle to be able to come in and supplement as well, hey, the identity, the running backs got to show up and be a part of who this offense is, and he was a perfect embodiment of his number being called, ready to go, and showing what the Carolina Panther pride is all about in playing that position. And so whenever you start experiencing that success, and you saw it against Atlanta whenever the first home game rolled around, you win 30-0. I say it's actually harder to score 0 points than it is to probably blow somebody out 30-0. Yeah. Like, I think it's harder to lose 30-0 than it is to win 30-0. And that's indicative of this team coming together, defending the vault, right? They had to come into the bank and say, hey, this is our spot, this is our time. And then they were able to take some of those same types of feelings and then incorporate that in the win against Miami. And if you can continue to do that, double down, believe, and then galvanize this team in the way that you need to galvanize it, you can overcome everything. And like last Sunday was not perfect, right? You throw an interception, you had a sack fumble, like gave up a touchdown. Like,
could have beat them by 20.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. It wasn't perfect, and you still were able to do that, overcoming a 17-point deficit, and then just looking like you were the better team the entire time. And that comes with, more time together, understanding the culture that Coach Canales want to continue to implement, and then believing in one another. And I think that's what separated us from teams that we played against, was our culture and value was always in each other. Mm-hmm. It wasn't in anybody else. It wasn't in personal gain. It wasn't in kind of superficial things that were happening off the field. It was because we wanted to make a play for TD. We wanted to make a play for Luke. We wanted to make a play for –
like we knew each other's families.
Yeah.
Like we was playing not just for your family, but I'm playing for your kids.
Like
Chuck, I'm playing for Frost.
Right. Right. Little CJ out there, Chuck. Like, we got people that we depend on, and our brothers in arm also want us to succeed so that the people that are depending on us are also succeeding. Yeah. And that was kind of universal around, and I'm starting to feel that same type of intentionality with where this team is, and if they can continue to double down in that culture, in that family value, and then you have performances like Rico Dowdle, then that also helps bring more dubs to the city and then change kind of the perception nationally and the narrative nationally about where Carolina is and where they're eventually headed to.
Yeah. Well, man, it was good to have you on this show.
Hey, I'm so happy to be back.
It's so good to have you.
So good to see you too, man.
Yeah. Well, before we go, I want you to finish these sentences.
All right.
Football gave me blank.
Football gave me life. Life. It gave me life. And what I mean by that is the meaning within the life and the lessons that I learned through football. They can all be attributed to whenever I was playing in Pop Warner, whenever I was playing in middle school, whenever I was playing in high school, college, and the professional, even covering it now. It gave me the work ethic, the values, what I wanted to see in myself, what I want to see in my kids. It all revolved around the identity of football and the people that surround it and make football what it is today. Wow. So it gave me life.
Gave him life.
After
family.
God, of course.
Yeah, after God. Yeah, well, God.
God really gave life.
Well, if you didn't know that, duh.
Right. Duh.
Boy, duh. Family gave me blank.
Family gave me my soul. So if football gave me life, family is my soul. It's the internal makeup and the genome of how I want to be perceived as and how I want my perception to actually be reality. So.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, that's Fozzy Whittaker. We'll see you next week. Go Panthers. Hope we beat them Dallas Cowboys. Rico Dowdle, by the way, has rushed for about 406 yards in Bank of America Stadium.
Let's go.
In 4 games. That's including the games that he's been dressed in a Cowboys uniform.
Let's go.
So we need to continue that run. But, yeah, man, good to have you, dog. And stay tuned for the next episode.
Keep pounding.